Well, I let you go over, but you still didn't really answer the question.
While most of the attention in anticipation of next Tuesday is focused on the presidential race, there is, of course, the balance of power in the House and the Senate to worry about, and our man Ed O'Keefe is here to get into that. Good to have you here. It's your first time in the fold, which is a shame. I'm sorry it's taken so long.
It's good to be here finally.
The House is obviously in Republican hands and the Senate just barely in Democratic hands. Is there any reason to think that'll change?
Not really, not at this point. Most polling you look at, most of the ways of tracking this, including the way that our colleagues at the Fix do it, is that essentially the Republicans will hold on to control of the House, but their majority will probably narrow slightly. We don't know. It could be anywhere from 5 seats to, 10 seats. We'll see. In the Senate, currently, depending on how things go, does appear that the Democrats also will hold on to a slim majority there as well, thanks in part to what looks like leads and perhaps wins in Massachusetts, in Virginia, perhaps even in Indiana, which would be a pickup, in Missouri, where Claire McCaskill will hold on, and a few other races.
Yeah, let's get into the Senate details in a second, but first, we're just talking. It's striking how few of these House races are competitive, and you've been writing about one battle in Florida that kind of gets to the hyper-partisanship and the effects of gerrymandering and everything else that makes the House a different place than it has been in the past.
If you look at 2 races specifically in Florida, both involving men named Allen, they sort of give you a sense of what exactly could happen. There's the race involving Republican Allen West, who is a freshman. He's running in the state's 18th congressional district, was elected 2 years ago. Bit of an outspoken conservative guy, has a wide following, raised $15 million for his re-election campaign, but he's in a close race against a Democrat who's trying to knock him out by saying this is a guy who's been outspoken and has embarrassed us here in Florida. On the flip side, there's a guy trying to get back in, a Democrat, Alan Grayson, who was booted 2 years ago. He's one of several Democrats who lost 2 years ago who are running again. His victory all but assured. And what the 2 Allens basically demonstrate is that the hyper-partisan, vitriolic rhetoric and sort of attitude that the 2 parties have towards each other in the House is going to live on next year because it remains so closely divided and because guys like this continue to get elected to Congress.
Let's quickly then talk about the Senate. A handful of the races that have got the most attention or most competitive. A Massachusetts race between Scott Brown and Elizabeth Warren that maybe is becoming less competitive?
Well, it does appear, if you look at polling from recent weeks, that Elizabeth Warren is pulling ahead of Scott Brown. They had to cancel their final debate this week because of Hurricane Sandy. Democrats kind of see it as a signal that Brown didn't want to have one last exchange with his opponent. So she's pulling ahead, it appears. In Virginia, just across the river here, Tim Kaine appears to be ahead of George Allen, but that is still a very close race. Democrats feeling good about Indiana, where Richard Murdoch has stumbled against Joe Donnelly.
Of course, he made those
comments about rape
a couple weeks ago. Oh, the phone went off. We've been waiting a month.
Have you?
An actual call or email during a segment. Do you want to share it with us?
It looks like that was my dad calling, actually.
Oh, was it?
But we'll get back to him.
Hi, Mr. O'Keefe.
So in addition there, I mean, Democrats are probably going to hold on in Missouri, where Claire McCaskill has challenged Todd Akin. And they feel pretty good about places like North Dakota, where they weren't supposed to do well. And the other one now, just in the recent days, Nebraska, where the former Senator Bob Kerrey is closing in on Republican Deb Fischer.
Got a big endorsement yesterday.
He did, from Chuck Hagel, the former Republican senator, saying that the Democrat is the guy that Nebraskans should vote for.
And if you can follow all those names, states, and races that we've mentioned in the last 3 minutes, you win a prize.
Or you cover Congress.
Ed, thanks a lot. We look forward to having you on election night as well. You'll be out in Ohio.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.